Well, dear friends, I am going to attempt to do a video holding it like this. I don't have anything to set my phone up, and my computer's not working to do the video, so thank you for bearing with me on this. The Lord said to me, do this. This isn't about you. This is about them. And who are the them, you may ask. This video is for anyone who has gone through the horrors of sexual abuse. And I'm smiling because over a year ago, I decided to write a book, and the book was going to be about overcoming trauma and how the Lord can deliver you of trauma in such an amazing way, redeeming you from the effects that trauma can cause. And I made a list of different areas that I wanted to talk about, that I wanted to write about. And sexual abuse was just one chapter. It was just going to be one chapter. I survived an F4 tornado. Of course, we know the F5 is the biggest. Survived an F4 tornado. I have gone through different traumatic situations in my life that, if it wasn't for the grace and goodness of God, I just would not be here. And so I started writing this book, and I told my publisher, I said, I only want the sexual abuse chapter to be one chapter, and I do not want to go too deep into that. And so anyway, she understood, and as I started to write, I knew that the Lord was directing me and guiding me to write an entire book on overcoming the trauma of sexual abuse. And here's the thing. We've got the Me Too movement going on. We've got awareness up front and center, as it should have been so long ago, but it's just now, in the last, I guess it's been a year or 2 years, I'm not sure. I do not have cable. I do not watch the news. I have just recently started watching, Fox and CNN, and, watching the news and on my phone, but I don't get all of it. And so it was over a year ago when I started writing this book, and I already had a title in mind, and the title was not what I have titled it today. And I think that's the grace and guidance of God. So I'm going to show you my book, and I want you to notice a couple of things. I want you to notice the title, and I want you to notice what the girl is depicting here. So it's Me Too, and her hands are lifted up in complete victory, and it's called Overcoming the Trauma of Sexual Abuse. And God is so gracious and so good. This book is about Jesus and his redeeming power to set one free of, in my opinion, only he can set someone free of all the intricate details of what sexual abuse causes. And so I share my testimony. I share my own personal experience. But I share about my walk with the Lord and my relationship with Jesus, and how he guided me, freed me, led me each step of the way to a completed healing, a completed victory. And I've been healed and delivered of this trauma for years now. Goodness, it's been at least 15 years that I've been completely free of the harassment and the torments and the different things that come along with sexual abuse. And you know, I wrote this book for you. I wrote this book for those of you that have gone through this. And I believe that we can overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I believe our testimonies are powerful. And the first person I ever heard talk about sexual abuse that was a Christian was Joyce Myers. And this was years ago. And she was abused by her own father. And the Lord just did a beautiful work in her life. And we all know how mightily used of the Lord she is now. And Beth Moore went through the same thing. And there's so many women that have gone through this. And I want to make a point that there are so many men who have gone through this too. Young boys, when they were young boys, they went through this. And of course, they've, you know, sometimes it feels like the attention is only on the women. And you know, the Lord so loves and cares for his sons too. So I wrote this book. It was a labor of love, and I just want to make it available to you guys. And anybody that wants it, you can go to my website, joyelizabeth.org, and you can purchase a signed copy there, or you can download it, whichever you prefer. And you know, it's so deep and so special, the Lord's work, and the way he has a personal plan for each person, and it's different. It's different. There are people that God can heal instantly and they never have to go through a thing. They're just completely delivered right there on the spot. Then there are those that it takes time. It takes the mighty counselor of truth to counsel and guide the person to a completed healing. And, you know, God has a different plan for each person, but the ultimate outcome is victory. And you know, I want you to be free. I want you to experience the freedom that I have experienced. And it's important because, you know, like I'm looking at chapter 3 here. I call it, I say, I experienced polyvictimization, which is having experienced multiple victimizations of different kinds. So my spiritual term for this is familiar spirits. And I define the term familiar spirits as demon spirits that attempt to re-victimize you throughout your life because they are familiar with the prior abuse in your life and where they had access or entrance. And that, the Lord can easily solve that. You do not have to be a perpetual victim. And I was for a long time. The Lord really had to give me wisdom and guidance, and I share how he did that and the steps that I went through to be free of that. And so I love you guys. I love each one of you that have gone through this. There's hope. You're not stuck. I know I'm smiling now, but there was a time that I wasn't. There was a time that I was so deep in despair and it felt like I just wanted to die. But Jesus came through. Jesus delivered me. And I share my story, and he can do the same for you. I love you, dear friends.